Hi, we're the Practical Dreamers. I'm Adam.
I'm Charlene.
We want to apologize for the glare in the last video. As you may have guessed by the pictures of ourselves on the wall, this is not like a professional recording studio, so anyways, hopefully it looks a little nicer now.
Right. So this week is week 14 for the Come Follow Me curriculum. Thou art the Christ, covering Matthew 16 through 17, Mark 9, and Luke 9. And our study guide is on our blog, thepracticaldreamers.org. You can access that, and we try to do 20 questions a week plus an additional study guide that Adam writes for some more context and other application. But this video, we are covering question 4, and that references Luke chapter 9, verses 49 through 50.
And John answered and said, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and we forbade him, because he followeth not with us. And Jesus said unto him, Forbid him not, for he that is not against us is for us.
Thank you. So I thought that was a really interesting verse. So
fascinating.
The question that we initially wrote and that we're going to discuss here is, what are some ways we can band together with other Christians instead of allowing Satan to divide us? So, I mean, there's just so many things. With
so many angles here.
Specific verses with this specific question. Something I've thought of recently is, we've got 2 toddlers. We have a 3.5-year-old and a 13-month-old little guy.
Are we calling him a toddler now?
I mean, technically he's a toddler.
Oh.
So, he does toddle.
They grow so fast. It's such a cliche, and it's so true.
But having small children and I get to stay home with them, we try to go to story time at the library, and the city that we live in Texas here has a great library system. And I don't know if it was because of this question or just the spirit. I just have really been thinking about trying to organize or seeing if the library would allow us to organize a story time that promotes religious freedom and religious tolerance. So we could read a story that I don't know if these even exist, but that talks about Christianity, one that talks about Judaism, one that talks about Islam. I don't know, but just that we can get together and so not only other Christians here specifically, but other religions to come together and say we all in some ways succeed together. So, but just trying to have that in our community, that people know that they're safe if they want to practice their religion, however they want to practice that. And I think that's incredibly important.
Yes.
If we want those protections for ourselves and for our religion, then I think we need to be part of that for other religions as well. So even outside of Christianity, because every group has particles of truth and really great things, and there are really great people and part of different groups. So that's really what I thought a lot about this week with this question.
Yeah, I really agree with you on that. And just to kind of add to it a little bit, so in my own work, religious freedom comes up a lot based on the kind of things that I write about with Native American sacred sites. And just something that's impressed me over and over again is, like you said, like how much we stand together. We have to stand together on this, right? Sort of making sure that every group has a right to practice their worship, right? It strengthens it for all of us. And to the degree that we let that erode for one group, it erodes for the rest of us. And like you said, one good reason for us all to stand together, other than just a practical legal reason, is a lot of us are just trying to do good stuff, right? So we should be using those opportunities to work together.
Yeah, and with that, whether it's service projects, here in our city, we've done, what is it, that musical thing?
The interfaith concert.
Yeah, we live in a very musical town because of both of the universities here. They're like 2 miles apart, but incredible music programs. So they've done interfaith music programs, just things to come together and celebrate together our commonalities. But I also thought with this that, we do a lot of inviting. Invite our non-member friends or less active friends to our church services and our activities, which is great, and we should continue to do that. I think we also need to be open and willing to go to other people's activities.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that should be anything that should scare us. I don't think there's a reason not to, right? If you want to be friends with somebody, it can't be one-sided, like, oh, you need to come to my church, but I'm not going to go to your church, right? There's good everywhere, there can be, and you need to trust Heavenly Father, I think, and have the Spirit with you to be able to discern, if you're worried about potential untruths or anything like that. But
yeah, well, and the Brigham Young, Joseph Smith, several of the general authorities have spoken really powerfully about the idea of, as Latter-day Saints, it's our sort of spiritual duty to find truth where it is to be found, right? And so
and claim it.
And claim it, yeah. So what's implied there is, obviously we have our unique truth claims as the restored Church of Christ, but there needs to be an openness there to learn, right? A sort of humility. One scholar calls this what did he call it? Righteous envy, right? A righteous envy towards other people of other faiths, right? And say, there's something I can learn from you. Yeah. So I think openness to being invited. And, something else I was kind of thinking about here, this is a really interesting episode, right? This one about he that is not with us is for us in these verses. And you were talking about discernment there a second ago. It's really interesting that he says he that is not against us is for us, right? And no matter what Bible translation you look at, that's pretty much the same wording. And to me, that strongly implies, like, yes, be smart, right? Don't go to the anti-church of anti and expect to be spiritually uplifted. So if you know that a group is sort of deliberately going to try to be hostile or something, that's one thing. But I think there's a vast, and we've all come across groups like that, but I think there's the vast majority of groups that are trying to do good things and worshiping Christ, right? And we can look at that as opportunities to, like, let's build bridges of understanding, let's build bridges of service, right? So, for example, our church has done a lot of good by sort of funneling our resources through Catholic Charities to do good in parts of the world where maybe we don't have the same kind of access. So it's churches working together, right? And, President Nelson, I'm sorry, I'm talking a long time here, longer than I usually do in one stretch. Everybody else is like, yeah, but we hate it. President Nelson, of course, recently visited the Vatican, and something he said was that, we have doctrinal points that are different from each other, right? This isn't sort of on relativism of, like, sort of every truth claim is the same. He says we have doctrinal disagreements, but he says that we have many points in common. He says our concern for human suffering, our desire for and the importance of religious liberty for all of society, and the importance of building bridges of friendship instead of building walls of segregation. So President Nelson was making this, like, really strong argument of let's cooperate with other people of faith, and especially our Christian brothers and sisters, and do good together, right? And recognize that it's not always this space to sort of be passing out pass-along cards. Sometimes it's a space to, like, let's work together and do a service project together.
Yep. So even though we do have exclusive truth claims or, explicit ones, it's just important to remember that Jesus Christ is still Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So even if somebody is not part of our relatively teeny tiny little church across the world, they can still love Jesus as much as we do or more, and they want to practice that and they want to serve and love him, and we can do that together.
So let's team up, right? Yeah, the world, there's a lot of hard things going on in the world, and we do not have time to sort of be purists about this and say sort of we're only going to team up with people once, we believe the exact same thing. We do not have time for that. We need to team up with people and do good things.
I agree.
Yeah.
But we hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.